Florida for RAF 5. We're actually looking at the audience as well as our partnership with Fox Nation. We continue to be the #1 show on Fox Nation. The president and our partner Gavin Haddam were there. We were looking at our numbers; they were crazy, and this was our highest ticketed event to date. So we're seeing each show our growth, and we're lucky to have our champ Dake here as well, and Colby, and then Izzy Martinez, my co-founder. He'll say a few words, and Eric Bischoff, my other co-founder. So I'm grateful for what we've been able to accomplish. Izzy, Eric.
Go ahead, Eric. No, I just thank everybody for sticking around and being a part of this press conference. It's fun to be in this business. It's fun to watch something grow from the ground up. It's fun to create an opportunity in a business that had never really existed before, and I'm blessed to be a part of it. It's a great team of people, great athletes, and thank you all for being here.
We always say wrestling is life, and I think that wrestling was life in that building. You saw all those young kids, and you saw, parents and grandparents. You saw moms, dads. You saw everybody, screaming and rooting for the wrestlers. And we got to showcase the best wrestlers in the world, and not only the best wrestlers in the world, but great wrestlers, great humans, great mentors for kids, and they put on a show for the young generation, and they inspired a lot of boys out there, a lot of girls out there. And when me and Eric and Chad and Hulk were talking about this and building this, we talked about inspiring the youth, and it really helped change the sport. And I think today you guys all saw that today. I think you guys all saw the inspiration through the kids, through the parents, and you saw the future of the sport, Real American Freestyle.
Questions? Just introduce yourself.
Jim Barcelona, MiamiHerald.com. I'm just wondering, you mentioned about the venue tonight, the ticket sales and all, a really good show. Your expectations coming into this, does it exceed your expectations tonight? And what do you think about South Florida and coming back to South Florida?
Yeah, I mean, I live in Tampa. Izzy actually, I met him coming from Tampa to Chicago, and Eric in Tampa. But we knew that my son wrestles here. The community is very large. A lot of Chicago guys that Izzy knew moved out here, and we're picking places where we know that there's a heavy wrestling movement. But we knew we were going to do well. It was a little different because Florida's more of a walk-up market. But over the past, and we learned that. But over the past 3 weeks, it just went nuts, and so. We were very happy. So our expectations, to answer your question, we didn't know, because we only, just an important fact for everybody here is we've only had 25 days each event to promote. Most organizations have 90 days to sell tickets. So we're selling tickets and beating numbers with 25 days. Our first 60-day promote is in Arizona, and we're almost already selling that out. So my expectations, hopefully for everyone, is we're going to exceed every show. We're going to exceed our last show, but this Florida show was amazing, and I think it's led up to all of our other shows and the momentum we've created.
Colby back here. Congratulations on the performance. We actually spoke a little bit earlier, and you said you really wanted to test out how you would match up strength-wise against Luke to maybe potentially test yourself in the UFC at middleweight. Do you feel like you accomplished that with the way you performed and how you met strength with strength?
Yeah, absolutely. I felt good at this weight class. I know I'll do good at 185. I have unlimited endurance, so at middleweight I'll have a lot more endurance and feel better. So, I felt stronger than him tonight, and I know he weighs probably 20, 30 pounds more than me. So you might see me in my next fight, maybe in the White House at middleweight.
Speaking of that, Bo Nickal called you out for a fight at the White House, and since you wanted to test yourself at middleweight, here we are. Your response to Bo calling you out for a fight at the White House?
Oh, the quitter, Bo Nickals? I call him Bozo Nickals. He bailed on RAF the last fight against UL. He bailed on this one. How could that ever... He quit in his last fight versus... Actually, I want to apologize to Renner de Reeder because I called him the Dutch kickboxer. My bad. He's actually a grappler. So a grappler made Bo quit in the octagon. So, Bo's a quitter. I don't have time for quitters. He can get in line because there's a long list of people that want to compete against me in RAF. But I want guys that are dependable, guys that are company men. I love RAF. Real American Freestyle is the future of wrestling. So I want guys that are dependable and I know are going to show up. And Bozo Nickals is not that guy.
And I have a question for whoever wants to jump on between Eric, Chad, and Izzy.
Yeah, I really want to follow that one up.
I will say this. I love Colby. Bo Nickal's been great to our organization. He's been with us since day one.
Well, he gave you a little bit of buffer there, Eric, so that's good. But you guys come in with a bunch of expectations, and obviously there was a little bit of chaos this morning because Yoel Romero was supposed to wrestle Bo, ends up getting Buchanan instead. So that was one surprising thing. And then the matchup went the way that it did. It was a complete domination for Buchanan. And if you looked on social media, people were completely shocked by that. Were you guys shocked by any result, I guess, that happened tonight?
You know, listen, man, we got the best team in the world, the best matchmakers in the world, the best brains in the world in the sport. You know, we work together, you know, extensively. You know, every day we're meeting in the mornings, at nights. We're putting up supreme matchups, dream matchups, fantasy matchups. You know, so once those, there was a couple, you know, shifts in this weigh-in, we just opened up our computer and looked down at the paper that we've all been grinding on and said that matchup was one we were probably looking forward to maybe 6 months from now, you know. So, you know, we just couldn't fill a guy for Pat Downey, but, you know, our team is awesome, and I can't thank our guys enough. Willie Saylor, Ben Askren, Lance Palmer, you know, Chad, Eric, Tanya, you know, Jazz. I mean, the list goes on, Ben, Conrad, you know, so it's just, you know, it's a dream to work with people that are fierce animals. So when there's a shakeup, it looks like a shakeup on the outside, but on the inside, you know, we're like ducks, you know, like we just keep pedaling and keep moving, and we just keep putting together the best matchups in the world.
I'll say to Izzy's point, like we always talk about it, but the stage at RAF is different. You know, anything can happen. We've seen it across, there's upsets constantly, so I think, you know, when you hit that stage, things change.
Fighting Colby Covington, congratulations on a very impressive and dominant display. You had a very fun call out after the fight. GSP, a real top, respected all-time great. Can you elaborate a little bit on what motivates you to take on such a tremendous challenge in GSP?
Yeah, GSP is one of the goats of the organization, and you know, GSP is the only guy that's ahead of me on the UFC welterweight takedown list. He's number one on takedowns all time in the UFC at welterweight. I'm number 2. So, you know, I want to settle this in the RAF, you know, Matt. I think this match needs to happen. I know George probably still wants to compete, and the fans want to see him compete. So, GSP, let's give the fans what they want. Come back. Let's settle it once and for all. Let's find out who the greatest welterweight wrestler in history is on the RAF mat.
And we love hearing that. I also want to elaborate as well. You know, it's great that you've always been a tremendous fighter, but this is truly what you've been known for, as being a tremendous wrestler. How great does it feel to be on a platform that truly glorifies and exemplifies your pure wrestling ability?
It's incredible, man. The RAF stage is honestly one of the craziest stages I've ever competed on. When we were doing the walkthroughs today, you know, and Eric Bishop leading the guys, and, you know, Izzy Martinez and Chad Bronstein, and just the whole RAF team, Hulk Hogan, you know, the late great, the legend. You know, it's just what they're doing for the sport of wrestling. They're transcending it, you know. They're saving wrestling. Wrestling went from a sport where it was kind of a niche sport. Now it's a sport that's making mainstream headlines. You know, we got this big media room in here. Everybody wants to see everybody wrestle in RAF, and I think the future's bright. I think that RAF can compete with all the mainstream sports, so I'm excited to be a part of it. I want to be the face of this organization, and I want to win the title here and just keep doing the biggest and best business we can do for RAF.
Absolutely love hearing that. Final question for Chad. Just want to mention, elaborate on what I asked. How does it feel to really be bringing the glory back to wrestling and really making it mainstream like you guys have?
Yeah, you know, this idea came in the room, you know, talking to the guy, meeting Izzy, and being inspired by coaches and other people. And I love wrestling. I love what it does for all the kids, and how it evolves and changes people's lives, and people like Izzy sacrificing their lives, you know, for kids and doing what they do. And I think it's incredible. And like guys like Dake, you know, coming on with us. You know, our goal was to bring on the best athletes in the world like him and give a stage where he can continue to dominate, which we saw tonight. And it's we're blessed that we've been able. It's not just me and Izzy and Eric. It's all the people that took shots with us in the wrestling world that came with us in the beginning to help build this. So I feel that I'm very grateful for my partners, the wrestlers, our team, and it's incredible.
Question in the back.
Kyle, what was it like to win tonight, and what would you like next for opponent, or what do you want?
Yeah, just thanks for everybody for being here. Thank you guys for putting on such an awesome event. Tonight was awesome. You know, it was such a fun event. I know there was a little bit of chaos, but wrestlers, we do really well in chaos. So we were able to be adaptable, and as an organization, they did a great job pulling it together. As for the match, you know, Cotty's a great wrestler. He has an interesting style. Him and I have a similar style in a lot of different ways, but to be able to go out and get the match is something I've been looking at for about 5 years now. So really excited to make that happen. And as far as next opponent, we have a lot of great athletes in RAF, and whoever wants to step up, this belt's here, but it's not going home with you.
My question's for Colby. Obviously, the Bo Nickal Yoel fight or wrestling match was supposed to happen, but didn't because Yoel weighed 7 pounds over. Do you think Bo should have still wrestled him, or what did you think about that?
Absolutely. You got to put RF on your back. You want to be the face of the organization. You got to be a company man. So he missed his weight by a couple pounds. Big deal. Luke was, 20, 30 pounds bigger than me tonight. I didn't complain, I went up a weight class, I weighed 197 with ankle weights on my feet and eating the night before at Mar-a-Lago with Donald Trump. So, I stepped up. It didn't matter, So Bozo Nichols, has no reason to talk any shit. He should go back and stop quitting in the octagon before he ever speaks my name again.
And then also, recently Dana White was told you don't belong in the top 15. He actually agreed. I was wondering maybe after this match, you think he would change his mind?
It really doesn't really matter what Dana White thinks of me. I'm a world champion. I'm Donald Trump's favorite fighter. I'm America's champion. I'm the king of Miami. You can never take those titles away from me. So take me out of the rankings, whatever. I'm still the biggest draw at welterweight. So it makes no difference what number is next to my name. I know what I'm capable of, and I know I'm still the best fighter and wrestler on planet Earth.
What's up, Colby? Chris Maddow with Valuetainment Sports. Congratulations on the win tonight.
Thank you, man.
My question for you is, in MMA, obviously the objective is to inflict maximum damage on an opponent. I imagine that forces you to get into a certain headspace, right? Obviously in RAF, it's a bit different. Can you talk to me about the prep match week versus MMA fight week? Is it business as usual? Has it been a little different for you this week? Love to hear about that.
Yeah, it's been business as usual. First off, shout out to Valuetainment, Patrick Bet-David, and all you guys over there. You guys are doing an amazing job with media, and we appreciate you guys coming out here and, putting that platform on Real American Freestyle. It's incredible. So, but business has been usual, just getting back to the basics. This is my first love. I started in wrestling before I ever got into fighting. So I wouldn't be in the UFC or done anything in my career without wrestling. So just business as usual, getting back to basics, trying to perfect the basics, and still getting in that nasty mindset where I'm trying to kill or be killed.
And to follow up on that, obviously you're kind of known as an MMA striker now, where obviously wrestling is your foundation. Do you feel like fans and your opponents sort of kind of forget that sometimes?
They do, yeah. They sleep on it. So that's what I want. Everybody's always sleeping on me and doubting, and no one ever wants to give me credit. I could cure cancer, and everybody in the world would still say I'm a bad guy. So it is what it is. Business goes on as usual. Can't wait for the next match. And God bless America, and God bless Real American Freestyle.
Hi, Colby. How does it feel to win in your home stadium?
It's incredible. It's a dream come true, to have all these fans out here is absolutely incredible. The South Florida fans really showed out, and, they showed that they really love wrestling out here, and just thankful to Real American Freestyle, thankful to Chad Bronstein, Izzy Martinez, Eric Bischoff for putting this show on, and, I can't wait for the next one.
2 more questions right here.
My question's for Colby. Colby, yesterday I had asked you about the size difference between you and Luke, and you admitted that you might be at some disadvantage. Were you surprised at all by his strength or how easy you were able to get it done?
No, I wasn't surprised. I know how good I am, and I just had to get to my shots. I didn't want to get in the clinch with him because I've seen him clinch with Daniel Cormier, and he could throw Cormier any time. So I wanted to stay on the outside, where weight's not as much a factor. Get to the ankle, get low, and come up. So, I wasn't surprised at all, but I felt good. I felt strong at this weight class, and I'm ready to see what's next.
And Chad, when Yoel missed weight this morning, was there any discussion at all about possibly booking the rematch between Bo Nickal and Pat Downey?
Bo Nickal and Pat Downey, there's all not for that one. To Yoel and Bo possibly wrestle again, but we were just what Izzy and I and Eric and team were doing this morning was just figuring out who we're going to put Yoel up against, and it actually worked out with Buchanan and Yoel. But what people don't see behind the scenes is every event we have. Like Kyle said, it's chaos, right? And people don't see that, but the group works together. We had it in Cleveland when Izzy asked Holly home at 1 a.m. to wrestle because Kenny Blades couldn't wrestle, and she took that on, and we almost had in Cleveland replace Wyatt Hendrickson and Mason Paris. So every show, we're just trying to evolve and make changes to make the best show so we don't get criticized by the media and we throw on a really good show. That's our goal.
Wesley Harper with Deepwater, and I have a question for Kyle Dake. So 2020, you lost to Kadik, and today you got your revenge. What was the mindset going into it? How did you prepare for this rematch?
Yeah, I think the first time I wrestled Kadik, I was putting a lot of pressure on myself. It was something I really wanted, and I overlooked him, and I learned my lesson. To be able to go out and wrestle every match, like it's the most important match of your life, and just prepare like it is, and go out, have fun, do what you do, follow your system, and put your best foot forward. So I think this time around I did a much better job controlling the hand fight, scoring big when I had to, and making sure to wrestle through all positions. And that's what got me the win.
All right, we'll just do these two and then we'll wrap. All right, right here.
For Chattanooga, you talked about fantasy matchups. Chael Sonnen said that he might be signing with you guys. Daniel Cormier says he does want to wrestle here. What fantasy matchups do you have in mind?
Well, I'll let Izzy take Daniel, but I did talk to Chow earlier. I think Chow could go up against Luke. Could be a good second match after and see what happens there. But Chow definitely wants to wrestle. I'll let Chow speak for himself and make sure Eric's okay when he is able to wrestle, so we find someone to replace him on broadcast. But I think Chow every show, as we all see with Chow on social media, he loves being here, and he's amazing for our show, and we definitely want to see him on the mats. He's a competitor. I'll let Izzy talk about Daniel.
I mean, I think you guys saw Steve Mako compete tonight, and I think at his age, he went out there and performed really well against a two-time Egyptian Olympian, and I think that, when Daniel Cormier wants to put his shoes on and get back on the mat, who wouldn't want to see two former Olympians at that same age and same body type kind of go at it, So, I mean, I think we got fantasy matchups, but they're not fantasy because they're damn near close to reality, Our Instagram inbox, our text messages are flooded with guys that want to compete against all the legends in the sport. Not only, obviously we have Colby, and the best fighters in the world coming, and Daniel Cormier is knocking on the door also. You guys saw Bo Bassett call out Henry Cejudo. So the matches are there, and we're super excited to put them on.
DC said that he would 10-0 John Jones. You trained with John. What's your thoughts on that?
Listen, man, I'll say this.
Don't mess this up, Izzy.
Listen, I'll say this, guys. Daniel Cormier, just speaking on him for a second, when I was training John and John went out there and kicked his ass twice, Daniel Cormier was a great guy. I was a high school wrestling coach, and Daniel Cormier, literally 3 weeks after he lost to John, would fly us out there, and then our team would kick his team's ass again. And he would always support us. And I'm just talking a little shit because I like to a little bit when it comes to John, because we had a hell of a run, but I don't see anybody 10-0 John in anything. I think if he wants to compete really hard, and if John wants to do this, John's got an unbelievable base. And I think that when he's play wrestling, you saw him play wrestle with guys in the media, Jaden Cox and certain guys, but he's play wrestling. And then, you see John Jones take it serious. And I think that what I'm trying to say is everybody wants to see the match. There's no way in hell Daniel Cormier texts John Jones 10-0.
This one's for Eric. Colby has that gift for gab that you know a lot about from the other pro wrestling. I'm just wondering, what was it like working with the pro wrestlers you've worked with and now working with these pro wrestlers, and what's that been like?
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun watching some of the wrestlers that maybe haven't had the ability to go out there and show us our personalities. We're getting to see more and more and more of that each and every week, and I'm excited to see that. Obviously, a man with a mouth like that is nothing but money. So as long as he keeps running it, we'll keep putting it on television. How's that?
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you coming
Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Hey, we'll see everybody in Arizona.
They're back here someday.
We'll be back. We're going to Tampa next.